I am a owner of my own business. We specialize in the photography, videography industry, as well as I'm a licensed drone pilot. So I do a lot of drone work, dabble a little bit everything. I am a car collector. I have a passion and love for cars, but in the end, I love to create, and I've taken value in the team I've gotten to create. I call it ourselves, we're a group of creatives that just love what we do.
What's up, family? Welcome to the LinkedIn podcast. Listen, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, share, and listen, I am here with a very fun guest today. We are actually in this man's studio, and it is immaculate, to say the least.
Thank you.
I think the last time I was in here, let me finish introducing you. Sorry.
There you go.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is none other than Liam Bentley, and he is an awesome man. He is extremely talented, and I'm glad to finally have you on here, man.
I know, I'm excited.
So the last time I was in here, this wall, y'all can't see this, but this wall was like flanked out, and I was just like, this space is sweet, like the couch is over here. And it's just changed a lot, and you told me you want to do that, but you have more desk and everything, so I think it looks great, honestly. So you changed it, and it doesn't look.
I wanted to make it smarter and allow for more creative people to come in and be able to work here.
It was awesome. So let's get into the good stuff. Liam, tell us how old you are and tell us what you do.
So as of today, I'm 23. In 2 days, I turn 24. I am a owner of my own business. We specialize in the photography, videography industry, as well as I'm a licensed drone pilot. So I do a lot of drone work, dabble a little bit everything. I am a car collector. I have a passion and love for cars, but in the end, I love to create, and I've taken value in the team I've gotten to create. I call it ourselves, we're a group of creatives that just love what we do. And in the end of the day, we get to create something and share it with the world.
I love it. Bentley Studios, man. How long has the journey been with developing this amazing dream? And, when did you first get interested in simply picking up a camera?
So I guess it all really started, I started my first business at 13. Wow. So the photography, videography stuff didn't come at the very beginning. I had since like a young kid, I loved to take things apart and see how things worked. And at the time, iPhones were starting to get big, and my sister was notorious for breaking her phone. And every time she'd have to go get it repaired, I'm like, I think I can do that. So that started that kind of mind running. All right, how can I do this? So then I got connected with a company that was based in California at the time, that it was like a mobile iPhone repair. And somehow I was able to sign up at the age of 13, and they would send me parts, and I would repair iPhones, repaired over like 30 devices.
Wow.
I was making like 30K by the age of 15. And I'm like, I wish I invested that money. Instead, I bought sneakers and random tech that's not worth anything right now. But I was at the age, you just don't. You don't
know.
So the money I was able to raise from that, I had a passion for music. And I was going into high school, and I'm like, I want to be paid to go to my own school dances. So I did it. So I was able to build a team that the schools would hire me out to DJ. I'd be able to create the playlist with my friends, and then I would get to show up, and my guys would DJ for me, and I got to enjoy the dance, and then I got the check at the end of the night.
Yes, sir.
So
that's what I'm talking about.
That's kind of just how I rolled. And I dabbled in that for a while, got into like some clubs, sorority parties, graduation parties. Like my senior year of high school, I did like over 60 graduation parties.
Wow.
Fell in love with it, started to dabble in the weddings. At the time, it wasn't my cup of tea. Because like when you're the DJ at a wedding reception, you either make or break the reception. And I wasn't vibing with it at that point. But in high school, like I started taking photos for my sports teams. I got my first camera at a young age. My dad loved to take photos. So he kind of got me into that almost as a father-son hobby. Okay. And then kind of fell into the sports side of things. Eventually got asked to do some senior photos. And then one of my student teachers was getting married. She's like, hey, I see what you're doing for the school. Do you like have any interest in filming my wedding?
Wow.
And I'm like,
Maybe.
maybe, sure, why not? So I said yes, and I ended up taking my DJ crew to
Wow.
go video this wedding for me. I don't think I've ever seen like two guys sweat through so many dress shirts. They had no idea what was going on.
Help me.
They're like, they're like, we don't think we're gonna do this for you again. I'm like, all right,
Yo.
you guys will stick to the DJing.
Sorry, bud.
And then after that, just kind of ran with it, and here I'm now today.
It's awesome, man. So from that point on to now, do you know how many weddings you've done?
As of end of last year, 170 weddings in just about 3 years of business. Yeah.
That's commitment, dude. I love that. I love that each step had a progression. It's like, all right, I wanted to fix stuff. I'm gonna fix some phones, make 30K, and spend it on sneakers. All right, I want to DJ. Let's figure that out. Oh, actually, I want to get paid to going to my dances. And then next thing you know, it's like it all started from, hey, I saw you doing photos. Do you want to come do my wedding? And now you said 100, 170?
170 as of last like New Year's Eve.
That's
It was
crazy.
170 weddings.
That's crazy, man. So consistency really pays off. And
It's more what you learn
yeah,
is what I valued.
elaborate on that.
So first few weddings, you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. It's like, it's a mess. You're dealing with all these different things. And at the beginning, like you're charging very minimal just to kind of get that experience going.
Yeah.
Which in the end, sometimes when it's the cheaper the client, it's not the best experience in the end, depending on the atmosphere.
I got you.
So you kind of pick things up as you go and you learn and kind of adapt. Like, all right, this didn't work. This is what we can change for the next one.
Okay.
And then as you get going after 100 weddings, you're like, all right, now I have a smooth routine going. Now I know like how these things work. And then it allows you to be more creative because you're less worried about, all right, am I going to miss this thing or is this a new thing I'm experiencing right now?
That's crazy. So you're, instead of like looking at it from, okay, consistency, it's like, okay, I can be consistent, but what am I learning in these moments that are going to make me better? And also, and I know this is your personality, what am I learning that I can teach somebody else to do as well, so that I'm not working so hard? Because I know in your mind down the road, because this is how you think, all right, this is going to be a business later on. I can't go to every single thing. Who am I going to train? Yes. What team am I going to help with editing, with shooting, all those things? That's important, and I think that people miss that aspect. I love that. I love that you said that. So you've done 170 plus weddings. You've learned a lot. What's one thing that you can say, like, that's when that moment really put things into perspective of, I could really do this long term?
So I guess from towards the very beginning, I found that having a team was very valuable to me.
Yeah.
Because I found a lot of other photographers, videographers struggled to find people that would be consistent, show up, and know that you were able to rely on them to provide the product you were hoping for. So from the very beginning, that's what I valued and really tried to structure, is having that family, that it's more of a family less than a team is kind of what I valued it to be. And I valued a lot of the success of my business on that team. That I know each and every one of them, I know I can send off to shoot a wedding, and I know that product I'm going to be happy with in the end. And they're going to represent myself and the business on how I want it to be shown.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So one thing that people don't know this about you, and I want you to talk about this because I don't want to elaborate on it, but one thing, when we talked some time ago, your product is different than other photographers because of what you are selling as a product. It's not just, I'm going to do some video, I'm going to shoot some photos. And I want you to elaborate this. Tell us about how you sell an experience. Talk about that.
Yeah, so I guess it kind of all goes back to why it's Bentley Studios, why it's not, so my last name's actually Abrig. So
Yes.
that's why it's like, everyone thinks it's Bentley, which it's my middle name. So it kind of works. It's still a name. It's still in there. But why I've made it Bentley Studios, it allows for that growth. because I find a lot of photographers and other videographers name it, whether it's Liam Bentley photography,
Yeah.
and that limits to just you. That what I valued in being able to look at how can I grow this business in a way.
Yeah.
It's obviously the people I bring on, because myself can only do so much until I hit that wall and I get burned out.
Yeah.
So it was like building that team that it has allowed me to grow and be able to create that experience, because each one of us, we all have a different mindset. We all have a different set of level of creativity.
Yeah.
And how they look at something.
Yes. Yeah.
So I guess I've gone and been kind of picky on the people I've involved in the team, whether they have much experience or not. But if they have a love for creating a story and have interest in it, I know we're able to shape them in a way that they can help the business grow.
Yes, sir.
So it's an experience when you book us. You're not just booking me, you're booking the team.
Yes.
Each of us, we have our own creative mindset that when we go onto a wedding day, we all bring a different aspect to the day. And what I'm trying to do now is like grow the team to where we're able to charge more. You can only increase so much or where you also hit a wall. So it's like, how else can you differentiate yourself? So I valued that when I'm meeting with my couples, I look at them, they're friends, they're not clients. How can I create that friendship that will last a month after the wedding, 2 months after a wedding, 5 years after a wedding? How can I create that? So it's offering unique things, such as a lot of the times I'll offer like viewing parties after your wedding day.
Okay.
So once your wedding video, your photos are all done, you can come to my space, watch it with your friends and family, bring whatever food, drinks, have a fun celebration, and get to relive that special day that you hired me to capture. And I'm so honored that I had the opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
So I want to share that with you guys again.
That's awesome.
But then it's also like right now I'm working on kind of bringing hair and makeup stylists onto the team. So on a wedding day, we can make the bride feel like she's an actress on a movie set. That if you're an actress on a movie set, you're going to have your own hair and makeup team every point of the day. But for us, sometimes as a photographer, videographer, we miss some things. Is we're trying to make sure, because I've had like bridal parties with 32 people in it. So it's trying to coordinate 32 drunk people.
Yes.
You miss things.
Oh.
So it's having someone, her sole job is to make sure the bride's hair is always in place. If a bride cries after she reads a letter from her soon-to-be husband, we're able to fix that makeup to make sure she looks her best.
Wow.
So it's adding unique things like that that make us set us apart even more.
Yeah.
I've also I love classic cars. So it's how can I continue to share those with people, but also bring a unique experience to weddings.
Yeah.
So it's being able to offer them as an added extra to a bride and groom that, hey, we're able to drive you around after your ceremony. You can use the car for a send off, and then we're going to drive you around for like 10, 15 minutes. So you can actually take a step back and realize what just happened. That life-changing moment that you two are now one that you sometimes just miss, because you're in the hustle and bustle of like, all right, now I have to go do bridal portraits.
Yeah.
Let's take 10, 15 minutes. Let's go drive around in a fun classic car that you don't usually get to do very often. But then also, I've gotten to experience so many cool moments because I get to look back in the rearview mirror and see that couple that have just said yes and just made their first kiss together as a married couple.
Wow.
Now starting that next chapter, and I got to be a part of that first step for them.
It's great, man.
So I think I valued a lot that what also sets us apart is I love what I get to do. That I've had so many experiences where on wedding days, I guess we look back to last February, I think was that moment when I realized that this is what I'm meant to do. That I got to film a couple, they had 2 weddings. So they one local, they also had one in Miami.
Okay.
The local one, that before the wedding, like when it's a destination wedding, I meet with them multiple times to make sure everything's lined up.
Okay.
Each meeting was 3 hours plus. That it wasn't because there's so much content, it was just because we bonded. And it turned into more conversation and just having a good time, going to get dinner, get drinks after.
Yeah.
That on their wedding day itself, I never forget this moment. During the ceremony, the bride and groom were sitting up at the altar, and I was on like the B cam on the side. They both looked over at me. He waved. She blew a kiss right in the camera and said thank you during their ceremony.
That's awesome.
That they went out of their way to make sure they did that. And I think that was one of the coolest moments. And then here comes the Miami wedding. I get to help plan their ceremony, like what the officiant got to say. Like I was involved in that. They're like, we want your perspective on this. I got to drive them to the rehearsal dinner. They're like, Liam, we want you to kind of be a part of this. And then on the wedding day itself, like as the day went on, they got married, everything like that. Going into the reception, the bride changed her outfit. Like sometimes the bride has 2 dresses.
Yeah.
After that point, she was kind of waiting around before she got introduced to the reception. And she came over to me and was like, we just want to thank you because we feel like we couldn't have had the day we had if you weren't here. And she started crying. And like to experience like someone telling me that, like on her wedding day, that we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
That's why I continue to do every single wedding. That's why I took on 60 weddings last year, because it was hard for me to be like, I don't want someone to miss out on that experience that we're able to provide them.
Yeah.
Yes, 60 weddings was a lot. Knock on wood, we didn't have any issues last year, but I've also valued that in the team.
Yeah.
That I've made an effort to always make sure the team feels almost equal to me in ownership of the business.
Yeah.
Not on paper, but in the actual aspect that I value each of their perspectives, but I also make sure that they are growing also under my umbrella in their own business and their own adventures or things they want to accomplish. That it's not just they're only here to help me grow. How can I also help them grow in the end?
Absolutely.
So I think I built so much respect in that way that I don't have to worry about them not showing up on a wedding day. That other photographers reach out to me at this point and like, do you have any of your photographers available? We want them to like, we need help on this wedding day. Can you send someone? So it's gotten to that point that it's like, okay, now I know I'm doing something right at this point.
Yeah, man. That's so great. So you said a lot of great things, some things that I want
Sorry,
to...
I just kind of went on a rant.
No. That's the entire point. This is not to hear me talk. Bump me. I want to hear you talk.
There we go.
But like literally something that you said earlier on, you were talking about how you don't see it as clients. You see it as friendships. Something that just popped out to me, like that makes so much more sense than just client to client, because you're almost setting yourself up for their next big life experience. So, okay, I'm at your wedding. I'm going to make this wedding so remarkably special for you that when you go to have your first kid, who's the first thought that you think of? When that kid graduates, who are you thinking of? All these monumental moments in someone's life, you get to be a part of because of giving your all in this just small instance and small moment of their life, the beginning of their life together. I think that's extremely poetic and a good business setup. I can't even lie. But something that I value that you said was you were very picky with picking your team. I value that because culture is what you create and culture is what you allow. Whatever the culture is between you and your teammates of like, this is how we do things. This is how we operate. This is how it looks when people hire Bentley Studios. I think that's so important because sometimes we may bring people on who are talented, but they can't take on vision. So it's like you've cast down a vision of what Bentley Studios represents. Can everybody on this team carry that vision? So I want to kind of dissect that a little bit. How did you pick your team?
How did I pick my team? I guess I've also valued that I feel everything kind of happens for a reason, and everyone is placed in your life for some reason, and you always don't know why.
Yeah.
But sometimes you eventually do find out. And whether it is, I guess for me, the people that I've gotten to be a part of the team, I guess the first person that was on my team, so when I was in high school, my school offered and asked if I wanted to teach a class.
Cool.
So it was social media productions because at the time I needed more credits and I was interested in it. and they're like, we see what you're doing for the school. Like, would you have any interest in like running the social media for the school, for the high school, for the middle school, for the preschool?
Okay.
I'm like, sure. Why not? Let me teach a class in high school.
Wild.
So one of the girls that signed up for my class, Gianna, is still a part of my team today. Because at that time, I saw her come into my classroom. She was very interested in radio and wanted to kind of learn and see what she could do in regards to that.
Yeah.
So seeing her come into class at a young age, and then seeing her now, that from that moment, coming into my classroom, interested in radio, that I was able to help her get an internship with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
That's awesome.
As one of the lead videographers. That, I guess for me, I've also valued, I guess there could be pros and cons to this. The people I bring on, if I'm able to help them in a way grow, I see that more valuable for me.
Okay.
So whether they come in with not very much experience in the photo video, if I feel it can be taught, but they have that perspective that I feel could be valuable, I see them as valuable to the team. But I also, I guess I looked at it as the team started to grow. I also was picky on to make sure everyone had a connection together.
Yeah.
I guess was a big part.
Yeah.
Because if someone clashes with another, there's not that team dynamic, that family bond.
Yep.
So I guess going back to your question, how I picked everyone, I guess they all kind of just fell into my hands.
Yeah.
When all said and done. That it was more of like the Cynthia, who is just started working with us. She reached out, she's starting her own makeup business in the wedding industry, and reached out that she wanted to hire me to get photos done to help her business grow.
Okay.
So I saw that in her, that I'm like, all right, she's my age, looking to start and grow her business. How can I help her do that? But I also see the value in her coming onto the team, helping me grow as well.
Absolutely.
So I guess that's how I've kind of looked at it, that if they've kind of approached me in the way that they need some assistance or actually want to hire me, that I see like, all right, by me helping them, it could also help the business grow.
Yep. That's key, man. So I know you've probably experienced this too. There's a lot of people that are really great at something and they don't want to help anybody be great as well. And I totally don't get that from you. And I think that's why your business, your brand has grown to what it's grown to, because you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna help them out. There's no doubt. Like, will it help me? Maybe, but like, if I can help you, you said it earlier, it's like, if I can help somebody, I automatically feel better about it. It feels great. It's genuine. That's not what a lot of people are doing. So know that you, for as successful as you are, you're an anomaly, because you're like, yeah, I'm gonna help you out, because that's not normal. And I commend you for that, man. Like, building your team is so important. If there aren't any ride or dies on the team, it's really hard to like keep the culture of the team. It's like, all right, I just got a bunch of people who are a bunch of yes men sometimes. It's like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. No, I kind of want you to challenge the idea too, because sometimes my ideas might be stupid as the leader sometimes, and you just don't see it. But it's like, if I have a team who's strong, it's like, hey man, that's not a good decision. Like, hey, I get what you're trying to do. Look at it from this angle. So to hear how you formed your team and you're like, yeah, they kind of fell in my hands, but you were still able to like look and like dissect and like, okay, is it beneficial to bring them on, or are they just somebody to do business with? And that's just good discernment. That's just good wisdom, man. So that is all great. I want to move to a lighter topic, because there's so much deep stuff. How'd you get into cars?
How'd I get into cars? My father.
Yes.
I blame my father for that one.
I need to meet this man.
So I guess even just from a young age, so part of it's the Bentley aspect. So Bentley's a family name.
Okay.
That it goes back on my mother's side. Great-great-grandfather was part of the founders of Bentley Motor Company.
The car.
The car.
Oh my gosh. Breaking news. I did not know this. Keep going. I'm sorry. That was awesome.
Yeah, but it's too far back that I don't get anything. I just
That's
got
okay.
the name.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure that out at some point.
That's awesome.
But I guess that's it from a young age. I love cars.
Wow.
And my dad always was a big car guy growing up. He always had multiple cars. He loved his cars detailing. His dad was the same way.
Okay.
Father son detailing was always a priority to them. So I think just from a young age, my dad and I just kind of bonded from that.
Okay.
That passion for cars.
Okay. What is the ecosystem? Are you a Ford family, a Chevy family? What?
So growing up, we were always a Ford family. Just about every car we ever owned was a Ford. So I lived at the Ford dealer.
Yeah, man.
We were a growing family. My dad constantly was changing vehicles, and we're always at Fairway Ford.
Shout
And
out
now
Ford.
it's a fun passion for myself. I've gotten very close with the owners of the dealership.
Yeah.
Got to experience a lot of cool things. And at the very beginning of my business, they were very supportive and gave me cars to drive, to take photos of,
That's awesome.
to help me grow in that way as well. But as the business has grown, I've gotten the ability to be able to purchase some vehicles.
It's awesome.
And I guess one of the first vehicles I purchased was a 1966 VW Bug. That's when the idea of the classic car rentals for the wedding side kind of came about.
Okay.
I was about 21 at that time.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, I want to find a cool car, and kind of looked at a couple of different vehicles locally.
Yeah.
And then it actually works out. One of like the biggest VW shops, like service centers, is literally down the road from my office.
That's so funny.
So he was a big help in finding my Bug out in Oklahoma. It's a father-son that owned it. They were the second people to own it. Kind of told them the story. They were very supportive, worked with me, shipped it down here, and
Wow.
I still have it today.
Is that Bonnie?
Yeah, that's Bonnie the Bug. Uh-huh.
I did my homework, guys.
Yeah, Bonnie has been a hoot to have in weddings. Everyone loves Bonnie.
Oh my gosh.
It's a little quirky to drive. It's an old 4-speed manual.
I understand.
Sometimes that second gear just drops for no reason. Sometimes the headlights are like not even as strong as the flashlight on your phone,
So don't drive it. Don't drive it at
and
night.
those are the high beams.
Oh no.
Um,
You're like, Bonnie.
I've gotten to experience a lot of things with owning classic cars.
Okay.
They are a love, but they also are hate sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Things like to fail. But what's also been fun, I've gotten to learn how to tinker on them and replace things, because they're not like a current day car that have all these computers, wiring harnesses. Super simple. You can usually find the old manual online, or I've been able to find old manuals on eBay
Yeah.
and figure out how to fix them.
Dude, that's funny because you're still able to tinker with things when that all started when you were 13.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that. Okay, so we got Bonnie.
We got Bonnie.
Okay.
The second classic car has kind of changed hands a few different places. So I had Clyde at one point. Clyde was a 64 and a half Mustang. Yeah, I put the 64 and a half in there.
It's okay.
It was the first model year. First one's off the line.
Wow.
I loved Clyde. Had it custom done, everything. But his engine liked to shut off.
Oh, stop it, Clyde.
He liked to die on me on the way to weddings, and I ended up on the road too many times on the side of the road. So
Come on.
he had to be transitioned away for a little bit. But I went from Clyde to a 21 Shelby GT500 instead. So the first Mustang to the latest Shelby was kind of that transition point.
Yeah.
But I guess the GT500 was, I kind of reached the point in the business. I was like, all right, I feel proud in what I've been able to accomplish. And I've always looked as cars as part of the family as well. My dad's always done that.
Yeah.
That it was kind of that milestone in my life that I'm like, all right, I've worked this hard. Now I'm able to purchase something that I can value and look at and remind me every time I see it, every time I drive it, that I put in the effort to get to that point.
Yep.
But it's also been, I love being able to share the cars with people. I guess that's why I love the classics so much, because the two classics I own right now are so iconic that whether you're a little kid or you're someone in your 60s that come up to me like, hey, I had one of those in high school. Can I sit in it? Or a little girl, like her eyes get so big when she sees Bonnie. It's like this big blue car that looks so happy. Like they just want to sit in it. So I think that's why I've also valued the car so much, because I've been able to share that history of like what things used to be like back in the day.
Yeah.
But they're also like so unique that you just don't see them, and they always bring a smile to someone.
Yeah, man. I love it. You and your dad cracked me up. We were talking about vehicles, and I was talking to Liam some time ago, maybe end of last year, and you were like, we were talking about I think the Raptor, and you were like, yeah, I'm looking at like a Raptor, and for some reason, I didn't think like Liam. I thought like me. I'm like, oh, he's getting like a 2023 Raptor, and then you're like, it's a Raptor R. I was like, oh, the Liam version. And I was cracking up because like, so hear this, guys. Like, Liam has been uber successful. This was one of the coolest moments that I was like, I respect this guy. Not that I didn't respect you then, but it added on to it. Okay. He's got this Shelby. He wanted to get this Raptor. The Raptor R is a V8 engine. And how many horsepower? How much horsepower?
700. It's the same motor that's in my GT 500.
He was going to have two of these guys. The coolest thing happened. This man said, I was like, hey, man, like, when's your Raptor coming in? Did you get it? Yeah. He's like, yeah, it's coming in, but like, I don't know if I really need two vehicles with those same engines in it. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, I mean, I love it, but if you want it, I was like, I don't got the money for that right now. No, I can't get it. You gonna give it to me, I'll take it. But no, it's like that, to have that, still that level of wisdom of just like, yeah, I could, but I don't really need to. I think that's where a lot of people who get successful forget, like, you can still like be sensible. And it's not like sensible, it's just like you just are like, do I really need two of these? And I just really enjoyed that. It was a real moment for me to see you were like, because it's not the fact that you couldn't afford it. It wasn't that you like didn't like it. You just were like, I could save that money and get something else and like enjoy what I do have. And I was like, that speaks volumes. And I hope that people that are looking at you, and instead of them saying like, man, I wish I had all the success that he has, I hope that they look at you and like, I got to figure out how to work just as hard, if not more, than him. I gotta get a work ethic that matches or goes past that. So that was one moment that I just was like, this dude's a genius. Because my stupid self would have been like, I'm getting both of them for no reason. And my dad would have been like, take it back. I'm like, you got it. But yeah, man, I value you. You're an amazing, amazing man. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for you, man.
Thank you.
You have a lot of things coming up. Can you legally give us something that you're looking forward to doing in 2023 and 2024 even?
100%. So I guess adding to what you kind of finished with on that, I've always valued, I call it the 3 Bs. So it's surrounding myself with people beyond me, people beside me, and people behind me.
Wow.
It's the people beyond me. It's people I look up to as mentors, people in the same industry or in a whole different industry, because you never know what they might do that you might notice and then learn from and can adapt to your business, even if it's not even in the same industry.
Sure.
That it's also the people beside me. It's the people at the same level, whether it's in my industry or in a whole different industry. They're also at the same point. They're looking for, all right, how can we change and adapt to grow to be that person beyond us?
Yeah.
You also never know what you can pick up from. And then I guess the people behind me, I've also valued whether it's the people I brought on my team, or I'm also the part, like I'm on the board at MCCTC, a local technical school, that I get to help teach high school students what kind of potential they have in the media and photography industry.
Yeah.
I'm also I'm currently working with Columbiana High School. I'm working with their seniors and creating a whole mural for the city of Columbiana.
That's awesome.
That it's the people behind me that they're young, they have new perspectives, they're kind of in the current technology, that they might bring something to the table that I might ever thought of. That I guess that's what I'm looking forward to the most this year.
Yeah.
It's the people that I've gotten to surround myself with.
Awesome.
That it's all right, whether it's connections, whether it's partnerships, that I'm anxious to see what might come about from those. I guess that's what I'm looking forward to the most. I did hire my first full-time employee that's now in office with me every day. That's been a big change for me because everyone's kind of been part-time. Sometimes they're just seasonal for weddings. That now actually having someone in office, I now have to show up at normal times. I can't just show up at like 7 a.m. and then go home and come back at 9 p.m. at night and work until 2 a.m. It just doesn't work like that anymore. But it's been a good learning experience for me in that way, because having someone that's with me all day that brings a different perspective and sometimes makes me question things on how I've structured everything like these past few years, because it only has been me and it's worked. But it's bringing someone in that, all right, how can we change what you did and make it better?
Yep.
So we're restructuring a lot of the back end of the business. We're building brand new websites. We're expanding the team on the web design side of things, as well as the graphics, to try to build that ultimate team on the commercial side. We've kind of hit that point where we feel pretty established on the wedding side, but it's also not at the point where we can just get comfortable and just let it run its course.
Absolutely.
So the makeup was a big thing that I wanted to bring on to continue to kind of set that bar higher as we go on, to offer unique things that no one else is offering.
That's awesome.
So I guess that's what I'm looking forward to the most. It's hard to I say it's hard to have like a business plan anymore because you just never know.
Yeah.
You never know if another COVID's going to come around the corner and everything goes downhill. So it's, I guess, having a general idea of what's going to happen, but in the end, just kind of letting it run its course and see what happens is what I'm excited for.
That's awesome. Man, thanks for letting us just come sit with you and talk with you, man.
Uh-huh.
I got to bring Liam back on. This was dope. So, guys, listen, if you enjoyed this, make sure that you like and subscribe and share. Listen, can't wait to talk to you again, and make sure you stay in tune with us. We got more interviews coming. Can't wait to chat with you guys in the comments. Be easy. Love you.
Thank you, guys.